Having an understanding of what all fantasy football drafters are doing is going to help you regardless of the draft platform you're playing on. But here, what I did is I tracked ADP from Underdog, FFPC, ESPN, Yahoo, NFL Fantasy to find the best and worst values on Yahoo Fantasy and specifically what kind of draft strategy we should be implementing to take advantage of the wisdom of the crowds across the entire fantasy football space. But starting with the 10 best values, you're going to see a continued trend here at the gate. Two of the best values on Yahoo are going to be Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews, where Kelce has an ADP of pick 10. Whereas if you're looking across the other sites, on ESPN, he's going at pick 5, Underdog as well as NFL Fantasy. He's up there at pick 6. And you see a similar trend with Mark Andrews. I mean, on Underdog, Andrews is currently sitting at 28, whereas in Yahoo drafts, Andrews is down at 36. You'll see at the end of the video some of the worst values on Yahoo. I mean, later on, tight ends are honestly pushed up while these top guys are pushed down. It is very weird, and it kind of tells us that you're definitely in a spot where it's much more viable for you to go ahead and grab an elite level tight end out the gate rather than trying to take an overpriced one later on in your Yahoo draft. And this sets up perfectly with the other position that is undervalued at the very top of fantasy football drafts with the elite level quarterbacks. What is crazy to think is you could take Travis Kelce at the very end of round 1 of your Yahoo fantasy league, come back around and get a stud bell cow running back at the beginning of round 2, and then still have Patrick Mahomes available to you at pick 30. Yes, Mahomes ADP, pick 30 in Yahoo drafts, whereas in your regular fantasy football league, whether that's ESPN, NFL Fantasy, FFPC, you should expect him to go at the beginning to the middle of the second round. So, I mean, getting this kind of value is nice, but you're seeing the same thing with the other quarterbacks as well, such as Jalen Hurts, pick 29. Josh Allen, pick 33. And hell, you even have Lamar Jackson, pick 44 in these Yahoo fantasy drafts. So if you were to whiff, say there's another member of your league that somehow found our videos and has somehow identified that taking that elite level quarterback and an elite level tight end early, even if you're taking them quote unquote ahead of ADP, is still giving you a significant advantage over the rest of your league mates, and you whiff on Kelce and Mahomes, you could still go Mark Andrews at the end of round 3 and Lamar Jackson at the beginning of round 4. I mean, Lamar Jackson has been who I've spent the most amount of money on in my Underdog drafts so far this year. The reason being is simple. The man has a ceiling that nobody else can come close to. I mean, if you go back to 2019, Lamar Jackson scored more fantasy points at the quarterback position than any other player in NFL history at QB. Now you add in Odell, Zay Flowers, a healthy Rashad Bateman, presumably, a fully healthy Mark Andrews. I think getting Lamar Jackson at the end of round 3 in Underdog drafts is already an incredible value. But if you're getting him in round 4 of your Yahoo drafts, you have to go ahead and you have to take him there. Now, of course, to be fair, the overall upside's not going to matter as much in your regular redraft league where it's just you against your 9 or 11 other buddies. Obviously, in those Underdog best ball tournaments where it's like a $6 buy-in, $100,000 first place prize, there we are just trying to have the highest ceiling possible. So maybe you have to take that into account when you are taking on the risk of Lamar as well. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, if y'all want to get into a draft with us in those Underdog tournaments, y'all know that's where we are drafting every single night on this live stream. They're best ball drafts and no time commitment at all during the season. So I drafted 700 teams and won $150,000 on Underdog last year. And if you want to draft with us, you can find that link in the comment section in the description of this video. And if you use promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, you're going to get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find our 2023 fantasy football draft guide. And I worked my butt off to get y'all a Josh Allen free special pick'em, more than less than half a passing yard against the Jets week 1. It's going to be exclusive for people who use promo code FLOCK on Underdog. And I actually am setting y'all up with 3 of those this season. But going over to our next guy, we are looking at Deebo Samuel's a pretty strong value. Currently picked 45 on Yahoo. Obviously, Deebo took a massive step back from 2021 to 2022. Went from the wide receiver 3 overall down to a high-end wide receiver 3. So, we're not sitting here and saying that Deebo can go back to his 2020 2021 self, but the upside makes so much sense, especially if you start off with an elite level tight end and an elite level quarterback, and you could somehow get Deebo Samuel in round 4, round 5 of your Yahoo draft. Now, going over to our next guy, we're going to be looking at Keenan Allen as a pretty strong value as well. You're going to see another continued trend of what you have here with these Yahoo drafts. And with Keenan Allen, he has an ADP of 51. And if you compare this to Underdog, if you compare this to ESPN, if you compare this to FFPC, in those contests, you actually have Keenan Allen going at the end of the 3rd round. So even if I have not been advocating for anybody to draft Keenan Allen at the 3-4 turn in Underdog drafts this year, please give me Lamar instead. If you're going to get him round 5 of your Yahoo Fantasy League, I'm honestly fine with that. Now, going over to Christian Watson, this is someone I'm drafting almost regardless, and he's going in round 6 of Yahoo drafts right now. This is a wide receiver that had 2.6 yards per route run this past season. The only guys that have more yards per route run, Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Jalen Waddle. I mean, he was the cream of the crop, Christian Watson. The touchdowns are getting him back to earth just a bit, but to be fair, I mean, at the end of the day, with that kind of efficiency, we can say that this is an elite level talent, and you're really just hoping that Jordan Love's any good. Now, our next guy will be Mike Williams. So y'all notice these middle round wide receivers are the value as well, where Mike Williams, you're getting him at pick 74 in comparison to the 4th round of Underdog drafts. With Mike Williams, what I wouldn't mind at all, especially considering the value that you're getting on Justin Herbert, is if you wanted to wait, take Keenan Allen round 5, round 6, go Mike Williams round 6, round 7, and then also get Justin Herbert at a value and go all in on a Los Angeles Chargers double stack there at value. I think it would make sense in this kind of format, especially if you were able to grab Travis Kelce at the end of round 1 and then possibly follow it up with RB in rounds 2 and 3. Because you'll notice as we go through this list, you're going to see that a lot of these running backs in Yahoo drafts are pushed up where the middle round running backs are guys that you want to be ignoring. We know in Underdog drafts, I mean, I actually just drafted Najee Harris in round 5 of a $500 draft on the live stream 2 nights ago. Well, now, if you're looking over at Yahoo, Najee Harris goes to pick 22. I will say Najee definitely has red flags. If you look at his trajectory of what he did as a rookie and a second-year player, he is on the James Robinson trajectory. He's on the Clyde Edwards-Helaire trajectory. I mean, this is a running back that we do need to be concerned about. Now, to be fair, last year he suffered a Liz Frank injury. He had a worse offensive line. He had worse quarterback play. And I think that there are reasons to assume that Najee Harris is much better this next season. But that's why I'm going to love to take him at the end of round 4, in the middle of round 5 of an Underdog draft. Like I said, I just got him the middle of round 5 in a $500 Underdog draft. I think that's strong value. However, to take him at the end of the 2nd round of your Yahoo league, I just don't see the point. Nick Chubb is a running back that's going at pick 7 in Yahoo drafts right now. Now, if you're in a non-PPR format, sure, go ahead and send it, right? I mean, non-PPR format, Nick Chubb's had 3 straight seasons of over 100 total yards per game. Nick Chubb has the elite offensive line. Nick Chubb should have very good quarterback play again this next season. But in a full PPR league, I would much prefer just getting like Saquon Barkley at a discount, especially if you consider the fact that, I mean, yes, Kareem Hunt's gone, but Nick Chubb still is only coming off a season where he averaged 6.8% of his team's targets on a per game basis. Now, going over to our next guy, Travis Etienne, I can't stop drafting in round 4 of Underdog drafts, but you would have to take him at the end of round 2 in your Yahoo contest. And with Etienne, there are enough red flags where I'll say drafting him inside the top 2 rounds, probably not ideal, where this is a running back that if I had to come up with a bull case, and I say this as someone who's drafted a lot of Travis Etienne at a much cheaper cost, you do have to take Bigsby, most likely seeing about 30% of the work. With Etienne, while I personally want to believe that he will expand his role as a pass catcher this next season in Jacksonville, he did only see about 7.5% of his team's targets on a per game basis this past year. So, I mean, it is very hard to draft him inside the top 2 rounds where you would have to on Yahoo. Now, Aaron Jones is a running back that I'm all out of on this price point. He's going right next to Najee, right next to Travis Etienne at the 2-3 turn. I mean, you're going to notice, yes, running backs here outside of those elite RB1s in these Yahoo drafts are honestly a little bit ridiculous with their price point if you compare them to other draft platforms. So what I would say is you probably want to be looking more so for a hero RB approach if you are in one of these Yahoo drafts, where maybe you go with like a Bijan Robinson out the gate round 1, right? Then you follow that up with Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson at the 3-4 turn. And then around 5, 6, 7, you're going wide receiver values with guys like Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Christian Watson. Now, our next guy will be Dameon Pierce, the continued trend of these guys getting pushed up. I've drafted a lot of Dameon Pierce in all my underdog drafts because I'm getting him round 6. I'm getting him round 7. You have to take him in the middle of the 4th round in your Yahoo fantasy leagues, which honestly, I really like Dameon Pierce. I'm not even going to tell you that's too bad of a pick. Now, J.K. Dobbins is a horrendous pick on Yahoo. I will definitely say that. Or Dobbins is going at pick 39. So what you're going to see is say, J.K. Dobbins fall down to pick 50 in your Yahoo draft, and there's going to be someone in your league thinking, oh my gosh, I'm getting an incredible value on Dobbins. ADP 39, I'm getting him at pick 50. That's an easy pick. Well, in reality, if you go over and look at ESPN, J.K. Dobbins over there is going to pick 84. If you go over and look at FFPC, he's going at 71. This is why it's so important to go through and take that entire landscape of fantasy football drafts and be able to identify the landmines on where they sit in your ADP list, because that's what you're going to have at your disposal whenever you're going through drafting. So what I would almost recommend you to do is I would recommend you to go to flockfantasy.com, pull up our 2023 consensus ADP. You'll see that post on the front page. Download that sheet that I put up for everybody. I'm going to keep updating that for y'all. Take that to your draft and use that instead of just the default ADP list that your site's giving you. Because if you have the ADP for every site, it's going to be much more predictive than just the one that you're currently sitting in. And of course, if you're not already a member of flockfantasy.com, promo code FLOCK gets you 30% off any subscription. And that's also where all my rankings are. That's where our draft guides are. That's where all the premium content is for all your favorite fantasy football creators. And also, not only will you get 30% off promo code FLOCK, but my other Flocker package, yours truly will break down your fantasy football team in a podcast before the season starts. But going over to our next guy, we are going to be looking at Michael Pittman Jr. ADP 64 on Yahoo, whereas in ESPN drafts going 86. NFL Fantasy is actually down there at 96. I mean, I don't mind at all if you're drafting Michael Pittman Jr. as like a low-end wide receiver 3, high-end wide receiver 4, but we'd have to be very realistic that this Indianapolis Colts passing offense is just not going to have a lot of volume to go around overall. I mean, I would just rather have him as a wide receiver 4 than where you have to draft them on Yahoo. Now, going back to what we were talking about at the beginning of this video, right? It would be different if we were pointing out those elite tight end and those elite quarterback values if all tight ends across the board and all quarterbacks across the board were pushed down in these Yahoo drafts. If it was just you're going to get every single guy from Travis Kelce to David Njoku to Evan Ingram at a massive discount, then you're not really getting anybody at a discount, right? If they all slide down together. But the issue is, if you're in one of these Yahoo drafts, those elite level options at tight end and quarterback are going to be pushed down draft boards, while the mediocre guys that maybe are interesting in their own right, but by no means belong with the elite level players, are pushed up to a much closer range. So you see Pat Frymuth here going pick 81 in Yahoo drafts in comparison to like 107 in underdog leagues. Hell, he's going at the same price in Yahoo drafts right now than he is on the FFPC, which is tight end premium 1.5 points per reception. I mean, you go over to Daniel Jones, same thing. You would assume, okay, well, yeah, if you can get Lamar Jackson round 4, what? Yeah, Daniel Jones round 12, Daniel Jones round 13. No, Daniel Jones is pushed up to pick 92 here on Yahoo. I mean, in comparison to Underdog at 112, ESPN at 112, NFL Fantasy at 118. Now, trust me, I've been drafting a lot of Daniel Jones on Underdog. Not saying I don't like the guy. I think he has a lot of rushing upside. I mean, he averaged 44 rushing yards per game this past season, but it's just more so, okay, if you're going to get a discount on one of those elite level quarterbacks on a platform like this, why would you go through and pass up on that just so you have to spend a higher pick on someone like Daniel Jones a little later on? Now, our next guy will be Treylon Burks. I'm going to be interested to see how these sites constantly update their ADP. One thing that I love about drafting on Underdog Fantasy is that's where the most drafts are held. That's where, I mean, the largest tournaments are, right? So Underdog is updating that ADP constantly every day, every other day, and it will be about the best ADP you can find. I would love for y'all to let me know down there in the comment section, especially as we get these injuries popping up for guys like Treylon Burks, Jerry Jeudy. How often are sites like ESPN, are sites like Yahoo, are sites like NFL Fantasy actually updating their ADP so we can see the trend of where these injured players are going once this news breaks. That is just something I want to have an understanding of. That way I know if some of these sites are going to be lagging on the trends where we're used to Underdog obviously being at the very front of those. But I think that's all I have for y'all. Again, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for checking out this video. I really hope it helps. And yeah, of course, regardless of the platform you're drafting on, please go check out that ADP sheet that I made for y'all. I think it's going to help a ton. And yeah, if you have not done so already, drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you want to get into a draft with us, we are drafting every single night on this live stream on Underdog Fantasy, where the largest tournaments are, where the most people are drafting. And if you want to draft with us, you can find the link in the comment section or the description. Promo code FLOCK is going to get your first deposit match dollar for dollar up to 100. Plus, you're going to get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com, where you can go over there, check out our draft guide, or download the ADP sheet, whatever the hell you want to do. And also, only with promo code FLOCK are you going to be able to take advantage of the Josh Allen special pick'em I got y'all set up with week 1 against the Jets, more than less than half a passing yard. But I think that's all I have for you. Again, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Really do appreciate you. And I really hope I get to see you out with the live stream later tonight.